It's officially fall time. The weather here is getting colder and Starbucks has already released their fall menu, so it is time. Come along as I pack my kids some easy and fun fall themed lunches this week. And if you enjoy watching videos like these, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my next video. I'm starting off with the Omi Lunchbox. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this thermos because we are not gonna need it for today's lunch. For this first lunchbox, we are making a sandwich. And this specific lunch is gonna be leaves themed. I recently purchased this fall themed cookie cutters, but they are really large, so they're perfect for sandwiches. This sandwich is gonna be salami. My kids love salami, and it's the closest thing to a leaf color that I was able to think of. I'm gonna be using a slice of cheese as well, but not for the sandwich. I'm gonna start off by using the leaf cutter here. This is actually a pie crust cutter, but it works perfectly for the sides to these lunches. So I'm just gonna cut out a few leaves from this slice of cheese to put on the side. With the top piece of bread, you wanna make sure that you're flattening it out. You can use your hands to flatten it out. That works great too. I also have a mini rolling pin that is perfect for sandwich sized. And you can use that to roll it as well. This is just gonna make it a little bit easier when you're using your cutter to cut through the bread because it is flatter and thinner. I absolutely love how large this cutter is. It's the perfect size for sandwiches. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the inside so that you can see sort of a leaf color underneath the cutout. Now, moving on to the next thing that I purchased, I found these leaves cupcake liners, which is perfect for today's theme. So I grabbed one of those, but I'm actually taking the cupcake liner and I am turning it inside out. This is one of my favorite hacks that I learned a while back, and I use it all the time with cupcake liners. And this just helps us to see the print better when you're putting it in the lunchbox. And it looks a lot more festive and it's so easy to do. Next up, I'm gonna add an apple, of course. Apple is a common flavor for fall time, so it's perfect here. And I'm just gonna use that same leaf cutter to cut out the apples, keeping some of them upside down. This is helping them be a leaf color since it is a red apple, as well as just create a little bit of a dimension or a pattern when putting these in the lunchbox so that they look a little bit different. But in order to keep them these colors, we need to prevent them from turning brown. So I'm gonna add some water and I'm gonna add some salt and I'm gonna throw them in, give them a good mix and let them soak for a while. I use the Redmond salt. I love that salt ever since I used it. It just tastes so good. I can leave it linked for you down below if you have never tried it. It is very pure, good for you salt. And then on the side, I'm adding this Lesser Evil Himalayan pink salt popcorn. This is another just good for you item that I'm adding in here. This is actually the Halloween edition. And then I grabbed these autumn sprinkles. I absolutely love the different ones that you get in here. Little pumpkins, little different colors and shapes and designs. I'm gonna be using this one here though. This is the leaf one. I was really happy to see that they had one that matched this specific theme very well. Let me take off this wrapping so you can better see how the leaves look. It comes in all of these different color leaves. I'm just gonna add them to my hand and sprinkle them over the top of the popcorn just for a little extra special treat surprise for her when she opens up her lunchbox and sees this. I think it turned out so pretty. It looks really good there. Now moving on back to our apples, I have rinsed them off and dried them all up, and I'm going to add them into this section of the lunchbox here. And our first fall theme lunch is complete. Moving on now to lunchbox number 2. For this lunchbox, we are actually going to keep the thermos in here. We need to start off by preheating the thermos. So I'm just adding in some hot water here and letting it sit. In the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and pack the rest of the lunchbox while we wait. Now, this next theme is football because football is also in the fall time. So I found these football cookies. They are so cute. I was so surprised when I opened up the package and saw that this is what they look like. So I'm gonna go ahead and add them here to the cookie sheet pan and throw them in the oven to cook. And while that cook, we're gonna go ahead and start with this lunch. Dumping out the water from the thermos now that it's nice and hot. And football in our house means chili, so I made some chili in the crock pot. This is a family-friendly recipe. It's not too spicy so that the kids could still eat it, and yet it is perfect for us adults. We absolutely love it, and it's something that we always make when there is a football game on. So I'm gonna go ahead and pack it into the lunchbox. It should stay really warm all the way through lunch since it is a liquidy meal. Adding in some cupcake liners to the sides there. For her sides to go with this chili, I'm adding in some sour cream, as well as adding in some shredded cheese. Now, I did have options on the side like green onion and jalapeno and just different things like that, cilantro even, but my kids did not want any of that, so just sticking to the sour cream and cheese. For the next side, I'm adding in some pretzels, and now that the football cookies are done, we're gonna go ahead and add some to her lunchbox. I really love the way these cookies turned out. I did not know that they would be football shaped. I really thought they would be circle cookies, so that's really cool. And then I also grabbed a football napkin to go perfectly with today's theme. I am having so much fun packing these lunches. I cannot wait to do the Halloween ones. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you do so you don't miss the Halloween lunches. Moving on to the next lunchbox, I'm making a breakfast for lunch type of lunch today. It's still going to be a fall theme, so while the pancakes warm up, I have these acorn fruit skewers that I'm going to assemble and place into the lunchbox because today's theme is acorns. On those fruit skewers, I'm just going to be adding in some raspberries and blueberries, but first placing them into this bowl to give them a nice wash before we get started. Drying them off so they don't get soggy by the time she gets to lunch. Adding them in. I have 3 fruit skewers. I think that's a good amount, and they fit perfectly into this section here. Now moving on to the next section, I'm adding in a cupcake liner, and I'm going to be adding some Greek yogurt since the pancakes does not have much protein. I want to make sure she gets full. This one has 18 grams of protein. It is a high protein yogurt. So I'm going to add that in. It has this cool whipped consistency that tastes delicious. Going back in with these sprinkles just to make it a little more fun, I'm adding these fall colored sprinkles. And then in the next section, I'm just adding in some pretzels, but to make it a little bit more fall, I'm going to go ahead and take a slice of cheese, and I have these letter cutouts. These are really easy to use. There's just a button that you push and it'll pop the cutout right out for you, so you don't need to pick at it to try to get it out. I love using these, and I'm just using FALL to add fall to the lunch. I'm just laying these letters across the pretzels because I feel like pretzels and cheese go well together, and this adds a little bit more to those pretzels to make it more festive. Now that the pancakes are all done, I'm going to go ahead and use that acorn cutout that I had from the other set and just cut out acorns from the pancake to stick to the acorn theme. But in order to make these look a little bit more like acorns, I'm using my edible ink markers. I use these often. They make these lunches so much more fun. So of course I'm going to go ahead and use the brown color and just outline it to make it look a little bit more like an acorn. Now I only did this for one pancake because it's just going to be for the top one. There's really no need to do it to all 3. Here is how the next fall lunchbox turned out. Moving on to another fall theme lunch. For this lunch, we are making a very popular fall theme that I haven't done yet so far in this video. So I wonder if you could figure out what it is. Let me know in the comments if you've already figured it out. I'm adding in some turkey and a slice of cheese to this sandwich. And then, of course, with that top bun, we are just going to flatten it all out again. And for my cutout today, the theme is pumpkin. I haven't done a pumpkin yet, but we have to. Pumpkins are, of course, a popular theme for fall. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut that out. And since our cheese is a yellowish orangish cheese, it looks perfect for this pumpkin. Now, sticking to more orange pumpkin theme, I'm adding in some cantaloupe to one of the sides for this lunch. Just be sure that when you cut it, you cut a ring around it that is kind of thin so that your cutter can go through it more easily. I'm going to go ahead with this pie crust cutters again and taking out the pumpkin one this time and just cutting it out all around the ring of the cantaloupe. This cutter is a perfect size for some fruit. So I'm just going to add everything into the lunch box now that we have so far. I have the sandwich, I have the cantaloupe, and then for my next sides, I'm just adding in some orange cupcake liners. And then I saw these snacking tomatoes and they look like a fall harvest color to me. And I'm just going to add some pumpkin food picks to them as well to spruce them up and make them a little bit more festive. Now, for our next side, I'm adding in some candy corn, of course, because how could it be fall without some candy corn, some pumpkin, some football, some leaves? And that is all for today's fall lunches. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.